Okay, so real quick, we wanted to let you know about these amazing protein chips we recently discovered. They're called Wild Protein Chips. Have you guys heard of those? They taste and eat like a regular potato chip, but get this, they're made of 100% all natural chicken breast. Yeah, chicken breast. But you have no idea they weren't potato chips given how thin and crispy and delicious they are. They legit taste and feel like potato chips. They have flavors like buffalo chicken, chicken and waffles, sea salt and vinegar. We seriously can't put them down. We could literally eat the whole bag in one sitting. But get this, we don't feel bad about it. Like, I'm totally cool eating it because they're high in protein and they're actually fairly low in carbs. And they aren't like these processed potato chips. Each bag of Wild chips has 22 grams of protein in it, and the chips are made from real ingredients such as chicken breast, bone broth, egg whites, so you don't feel like gross after you're gone to town on a bag, right? So Wild chips, check them out. They're the perfect snack for whenever you get the munchies, but you don't want to overindulge in something that's bad for you. You can also take them to the gym, out on a hike, or even do a friend's barbecue. Seriously, no one will know the difference between these and regular chips, and then when you tell them they're made of like chicken and they're protein based, they're gonna be like, what? Anyways, you guys got to try them. You can learn more at wildbrands.com. That's WILDE brands.com. And for a limited time, you can use magnetic 20% for a 20% off coupon. Let's get to the show.
Welcome, friends. We are your hosts, Sandy and Wade, baby best friends turned husband and wife and business partners.
This podcast is for the dreamers, the movers and shakers, and those who seek to attract their dream life.
Strap in. Getting magnetic in 3, 2, 1.
Like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
This moment in time, this is your time to rise.
Let's talk mental diet. Like how to clean up your mental diet.
The brain is fascinating and extremely powerful.
I think sometimes we're so focused on the outside, like we're so focused on our working out and fitting in that certain outfit and what other people see. But what the most important thing is what's going on in your head. What's going on in between your ears? Because that's where you get to live every day. What's that self-talk like? What does it feel like to be with yourself all day long? And
let's talk clean. The topic today is cleaning up our mental diet. So a lot of times cleaning something up is removing the toxins, removing the stuff that brings us down, even more so than filling it with, that's like the first place you have to start, right? In any quote unquote diet. I don't like the word diet, but like remove the bad stuff first so you can create more room and fill it with the good stuff.
And if you're like me, like you're a pen and paper gal or guy, write down what feels good and what doesn't. Like just like a brain dump, like have a piece of paper and pen and start writing. Like when you think about cleaning up your mindset, like what needs to be moved out? Like what are things that don't, are there limiting beliefs around finances? Are there limiting beliefs around your capacity to do something, to achieve something, to attain a goal? Do you have someone in your life telling you that you're not good enough or that you're not worthy? Or is there like mental or physical or sexual abuse or something like that going on in your world that you're like, this is literally dragging me down and no one knows that I'm living here? Like write down all these things that are coming to mind, because first you have to have it all in front of you to know I'm crossing that off. I'm crossing that off. I'm crossing that off. This stuff is moving out to invite good things in.
When you think about cleaning up your mental, we'll call it diet, what do you think of? Like, or what have you done in your life? Like, what have you removed from your mental diet or your brain? Like, probably let's start more basic things that anyone can apply.
The first one that pops up to me, and this is really hard to do, but it's removing toxic people out of your life. Even if they're dear friends that have been in your life for decades, even if it's family. Like even with my mom, before she passed away, there was 7 months I did not talk to her at all, which made it so hard when she finally passed. I had all this guilt, but I was proud of myself because I had to build a boundary. I had to protect myself and say, I can't keep enabling you. These are the boundaries. Unless you follow these rules, unless you're sober, unless you're this, unless you're that, like unless you're in a healthy state, I cannot be around you because it affects my mental health to be around you. So it's creating clear boundaries and like a standard of living. Like what do you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you allow? And then having those conversations, like that's really hard to do. And sometimes it's not a conversation. Sometimes it's just like starting to let that distance create, but cutting out toxic people, it is so hard to do. My life, my belief in myself, my confidence, my self-esteem, my business, my bank account, everything up-leveled massively when I cut out the heavy toxic people that were dragging me down.
That's a huge one, cutting out toxic people. I think for me, one thing I think of, and it's never a habit I really had, but anytime I've ever seen the news, it just, I know intuitively, instinctively, like this is not good for me. Like this is garbage. Like they're just trying to gain our attention. They know how the human brain works. We crave fear, stress, anxiety, all the things like murders, all the bad stuff. There's a million great things going on in the world, but that doesn't get headlines. There's a saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So articles, news, everything, it's all about those crazy things happening in the world, which are typically negative. So the news is just this vortex of negativity. And sorry to you if you're a big news watcher, but that is like one of the simplest, easiest ways to clean up your mental diet. Turn the news off. You can still keep up on world events. Sandy and I don't watch any news. We know what's going on in the world. We're not as well versed necessarily, but if I wanted to go research something, I could go look it up or go find like an outlet where you can read articles and it's not just fear mongering. It's just kind of educational on like world events. But turning off the news is one of the easiest ways to clean up your mental diets. Anything else you think of?
Well, I think replacing that.
Yeah,
like
what do you replace it?
Like for us, like we'll often play, like every morning pretty much we'll go on YouTube and we'll type in like 15-minute, like what do we type in? I'm like blinking right now.
Well, it's like inspirational, motivational, like life
15-minute
talks,
inspirational
like Oprah
video.
Or Tony Robbins or
Jim Rohn or like different like motivational speeches. Or like right now we're working towards earning a trip to South Africa. So to help us like get in that mental state, we'll play this. There's like this amazing hour-long South African, like it's like a drone flying over like different like beautiful views and seeing the animals. And there's like beautiful inspirational South African music. Like we're filling ourselves up with that. Or maybe it's listening to like singing bowls or like something like meditative or peaceful or Abraham Hicks or music. Like maybe if you're someone that needs noise in the background or you think you need noise in the background, start replacing it from news to something more positive.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge shift. I mean, not that I ever watch news in the morning or TV, but starting the day with, I like to call them my board of directors of life, if they're ever shifting. But like when I think about it right now, it's like Tony Robbins, Oprah, Eric Thomas, Jim Rohn, a bunch of mentors in our business. Like Jack Canfield. I'm going to be listening, or whatever book I'm listening to, Joe Dispenza. I'm going to be listening to these thought leaders that have done things that I want to achieve in my life that I have not yet, because I have wisdom to gain from them. So when I start the day with these things, and oftentimes there's, I just look them up on YouTube and we'll play it on our TV or on our phones, and there's something to gain from it, and it positions you in a positive way for the day. It primes me for the day. So not only is it removing toxicity in your life and clutter in your brain, but it's replacing it with good stuff. Another thing, which is both you could look at as removing and adding, is meditation or just stillness. Our brain is just constantly firing, wiring, rewiring, unwiring, all the things. Like it's constantly going. We're constantly thinking. Taking time, whether it's through meditation, whether it's in the shower, prayer, whatever it is for you, just time of stillness, of reflection, of breath work, like that. If you study successful people and you look how many have a meditation or breath work practice, I'd say it's very close to 100%. 100. So are you doing these things? Like that was one of the biggest things. They're studying these successful people. What do? Whoa, they have a morning routine. Whoa, they exercise. They eat right. They meditate. They surround themselves with incredible people. They remove toxicity out of their life. They work hard. They're focused. They have clarity. They have goals in their life. They visualize. They read more than the ordinary person. Like, what are these things they're doing? Let me start to fill my life with that. But cleaning up the mental diet is removing that toxicity, removing, like Sandy said, the biggest thing you can do is the limiting beliefs, but those outside factors, the news, toxic people, things that affect you in a negative way, remove that and then replace it.
Also being mindful of your self-talk. I used to be a very anxious person. Trust me, I still get my modes sometimes, especially this last week. Like sometimes I get triggered by things and I just get very anxious. And it reminds me of like, I used to live in that state all the time. It's not a good state to live in. I used to take like hardcore anti-anxiety, antidepressive medications. I don't do any of that anymore. I've learned how to kind of cope with it like naturally, I guess. But a big part is when I would spiral into a negative thought. Something that really helps me is just like canceling that thought, and instead of thinking, oh my gosh, if this happens, then this will happen. And if that happens, then this will happen. And then this person's going to think of me. And then I'm going to be looked at this way. And you start going into this whole thing and like none of it's true. It's all just like BS in your brain. I just say to myself, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Like when you trust that everything is always working out for you, even if it's perceived to be bad from the outside, like, oh my gosh, I ran out of gas. Like I'm on the side of the road. That literally happened to me the other day. It's okay. Everything's always working out for me because you know what? I wasn't meant to go do that thing. I was meant to be home and rest because I was on overdrive and I was overcommitting to things. And that happened because that was a physical reminder that, Sandy, you need to slow down. And so when that happened, I was literally waiting on the side of the road for AAA. And I was like, okay, I had to just take my baby out of the car. We're on the side of the freeway. I ran out of gas. Me 5 years ago would have been having an absolute panic attack right now. But I just sat there and I was like, everything's working out for me. Totally fine. I'm so grateful. AAA's on its way to me. We're going to end up going home and I'm going to snuggle my baby. I'm going to make a nutritious lunch. And now I don't have plans the next 3 hours. Instead, I'm going to play with my daughter. Everything's always working out for me.
I just high five Sandy behind the scenes here because I am reflecting on that. She handled it so well. And I knew Sandy 5 years ago, like, it would not have been the same day experience. Like
it would have ruined my entire day, maybe multiple days.
Yes. And she called me a little bit, she has our baby and there's in traffic on the side of the road, right? So it's definitely a little scary, but very calm, cool, collected, like, all right, we got to figure this out. I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, we can figure this out. I give you a lot of credit there. That's a lot of, there's an example of growth right there.
You called AAA for me. I got her out of the car. I waited on the side of the road. They were there within 12 minutes.
Oh yeah, AAA, shout out you. But yeah, clean, evaluate like what Sandy said, great exercise. Write down things that don't serve you and your mindset, and you got to start working to remove those and then replace them with something. So if it's a limiting belief of like, I'm not successful, replace that with 1, affirmations, 2, successful people. And that can be your life board of directors that you listen to on YouTube, or it can be people that you know in person, or it can be going to where successful people are, or it can be going to the conferences or whatever it is. So write down what's not serving you and replace it with something that will serve you.
And I know sometimes when when you're doing this, I want you to reflect on, how do you spend a lot of your time? Like maybe even go look, I think there's a feature on your phone where you can see how many hours a day you spend on your phone and in what apps. Like a lot of times I'll think when I'm like contemplating something or I'm like, oh, should I do this or that? A lot of times the question is, what did our ancestors do? Like our ancestors didn't even have access to TV. They didn't have access to the internet. They didn't have access to Instagram. Heck, they didn't even have access to podcasts, right? So when I'm contemplating, oh, I have an hour of free time, what should I do? It would be super easy to just start scrolling Instagram or watch a show. But I'm like, okay, what would my ancestors do? Like my ancestors,
hunt the meat.
They might make a meal. They might go on a walk. They might listen to, I don't know, I was going to say like do singing bowls, like probably more
they
tribal
do a lot of
music.
community stuff, singing, meditations, all that stuff.
Yeah. So like, how can you replace some of the habits or some of the time spent or some of the things that you're doing that are like new age things that we don't even know how it's like affecting us yet, and get more back to your roots? Let's get primal. Let's get back to like,
get your feet in the ground.
Yeah. Like ground yourself, like get outside, use your hands, discover your gifts. You have a purpose. Figure out what that is and start doing more things that make you feel alive like that.
That's all we got.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Till next time. Are you a network marketing professional? If so, look no further than the 90-Day Habits Planner just launched specifically for you to build out, to visualize, to game plan your next 90 days, your next quarter in your business. Pair it with the 90-Day Habits Journal, and your business will be unstoppable. Lean into both of those resources, and you will feel unstoppable in your business. Check it out at 90dayhabits.co, that's .co, and use code GettingMagnetic15 for 15% off. Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
So remember, you are magnetic.